Okay, good morning, class. Today we're going to start on lesson 5. Okay, solving problems by finding equivalent ratios. Our objective tells us I can use tape diagrams to find an equivalent ratio when given the part-to-part ratio and the total of those two quantities, or when given the part-to-part ratio and the difference between those quantities. Okay, sounds a little bit difficult, but we'll get through this. So example 1 tells us a county superintendent of highways is interested in the numbers of different types of vehicles that regularly travel within his county. In the month of August, a total of 192 registrations were purchased for passenger cars and pickup trucks at the local Department of Motor Vehicles. The DMV reported that in the month of August, for every 5 passenger cars registered, there were 7 pickups. How much of each type of vehicle were registered in the county in the month of August? So the first thing we need to do is gather our data. Okay, what are some important words or numbers that we see in this passage? Okay, we know there were 192 total registrations. Okay, and we know that our ratio is going to be 5 to 7 because for every 5 passenger cars, there were 7 pickups registered. Okay, so our ratio is going to be 5 to 7. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do is make a tape diagram. Cars to trucks. The cars is going to be 5 units long, and the truck's going to be 7 units long. Okay, please write this down on some notes. All right, so now we know that the total number of registration was 192. Okay, so that's telling us that both of these units, tape diagrams together, have to equal 192 total registrations of vehicles. Okay, so looking at this tape diagram, how many units are there all together? Well, if the ratio is 5 to 7, we can just add 5 and 7 together, which equals 12. So there are 12 units. Okay, so what I need to do is figure out what's going to go in each unit. Okay, how I do that is I'm going to divide 192 by 12. Okay, if you do that real quick, you would get 16. Okay, so now 16 is going to go in each of these units. Each of the units for the trucks and each of the units for the cars. Okay, so now I can figure out how many cars there were and how many trucks there were. Take some time to figure that out on your own. Pause the video. All right, so you should have figured out on your own that there were a total of 80 cars. Okay, 16 times 5 is 80, and a total of 112 pickups. Okay, 16 times 7 is 112. Okay, so looking back at this, the only information that they gave us was the total number. Keyword here is total. Okay, total number of registrations, total number of cars was 192, and then they gave us the ratio that we needed, which was 5 to 7. So we used that. Okay, we made a tape diagram that represented 5 to 7. We know that both of them together equaled 192. Okay, so we divided 192 by 12, and we got 16. So we put 16 in each of these units, and then we just added and or multiplied. And that's how we figured out how many cars and how many trucks there were in the county in that county in the month of August. All right, let's move on. So example 2 tells us the superintendent of highways is further interested in the number of commercial vehicles that frequently use the county's highways. He obtains information from the Department of Motor Vehicles for the month of September and finds that for every 14 non-commercial vehicles, there are 5 commercial vehicles. Okay, non-commercial just means regular cars. Commercial just means semis or dump trucks, things like that. Okay? If there were 108 more, keyword here is 108 more non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles, how many of each type of vehicle frequently use the county's highways during the month of September? Okay? So, first of all, the ratio they're giving us here is 14 to 5. Okay? So let's write that down. 14 to 5. Non-commercial to commercial. Okay? I'm going to make a tape diagram. Non-commercial is going to be 14, so it's going to be pretty long. Okay, and then commercial is only going to be 5. All right, so now they don't give us the total number of vehicles, so we can't add both of these units together, both of these tape diagrams together, and divide to find each number. All they're telling us is there were 108 more non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles. Okay, so how we're going to figure that out is we're going to look at the tape diagram. Okay, we know this has 14 units. This has 5 units. Okay, so how many more units does the non-commercial have than the commercial? Well, we see our cutoff is right here. Okay, so to the right of that cutoff, there are 9 units. So these 9 units have to equal 108. All right, so how would I figure out what goes in each of these units if these 9 units equal 108? Well, we have to do 108 divided by 9. Okay, and that gives you 12. Okay, so now 12 is going to go in each unit. And since all these units are equal, okay, we're going to add them to every single unit, not just those 9 units. Okay, so now that I have 12 in each of the units, I know now how to figure out how many non-commercial cars there were and how many commercial cars there were. Okay, so there are 14 units with 12 in each unit, so I have to figure out 14 times 12. Okay, and I have to figure out 12 times 5. Okay, figure that out on your own real quick. Pause the video. So you should have figured out that there are 168 cars and there are 60 commercial vehicles. Okay? All right. So looking back at this, they gave us the ratio 14 to 5. We found that in the passage. All it's telling us is that there were 108 more non-commercial vehicles than commercial vehicles. Okay, the key word here is more. Whenever you see the word more in a passage, that's when you're going to do this cutoff. Okay, so we found out that there are 9 more units in the non-commercial than the commercial. Those 9 units had to equal 108. So we divided 108 by 9, and we found that that is 12. Okay, then we added 12 in each of the units. Okay, and then now we were able to figure out 14 times 12 is 168, and 12 times 5 is 60. That's how we figured out how many of each type of vehicle uses the county's highways during the month of September. Okay, let's move on. Okay, I'm going to give you, what I want you to do is try out this example on your own. Okay, pause the video. Give yourself 10 minutes to figure it out. Okay, the ratio of the number of people who own a smartphone to the number of people who own a flip phone is 4 to 3. If 500 more people, more is the keyword, own a smartphone than a flip phone, how many people own each type of phone? Okay, so make a tape diagram. Okay, the keyword is more, so you're going to have a cutoff. Okay, and figure out how many of each people have each type of phone. Okay, go. All right, so you should have paused the video. Hopefully you took about 10 minutes to do so. So we're making a tape diagram for smartphones and flip phones. Smartphones is 4 units. Flip phone is 3 units. Okay? So, what this is telling us, it's telling us that there are 500 more people who own a smartphone than a flip phone. So looking at the tape diagram, how many more units does the smartphone have than the flip phone? Well, let's make our cutoff. Our cutoff is there. So this 1 unit here has to equal 500 because there are 500 more people who own a smartphone. So 500 has to go in each unit. Okay. So now I can add all these up. Smartphones, there were 2,000. Flip, there were 1,500. Okay, let's move on. Sammy and David were selling water bottles to raise money for new football uniforms. Sammy sold 5 water bottles for every 3 water bottles David sold. Together they sold 160 water bottles. How many did each boy sell? Okay, so those were the total number. I want you to take your time and try to find how many total each boy sold. Okay, the keyword here is together. All right, so pause the video, try to figure this out on your own, make a tape diagram, find the ratio, and look at how many total water bottles they sold. Okay, so you should have paused your video and tried to do this problem on your own. Okay, the ratio we're working here with is 5 to 3. Okay, Sammy to David. So our ratio is 5 to 3. Sammy going to have a tape diagram with 5 units. David going to have a tape diagram with 3 units. Okay, and it's telling me that together they sold 160 water bottles. So together means total. Okay, so both of these units together have to equal 160. So how many total units are there? There is 8. So if I divide 160 by 8, I get 20. So I'm going to put 20 in each of these units. Now that I have 20 in each of these units, for Sammy, 20 times 5 is 100. Sammy sold 100 bottles. And for David, 20 times 3 is 60. And David sold 60 bottles. All right, let's move on. Miss Johnson and Miss Seipel were folding report cards to send home to parents. The ratio of the number of report cards Miss Johnson folded to the number of report cards Miss Seipel folded is 2 to 3. Okay, that's our ratio, 2 to 3. At the end of the day, Miss Johnson and Miss Seipel folded a total is our keyword, of 300 report cards. How many did each person fold? Okay, so we're going to look at that real quick. Our ratio is 2 to 3. Okay. So Miss Johnson had a tape diagram with 2 units. And Miss Seipel had one with 3. Okay. So in total, when we have the word total, we know that both tape diagrams have to equal that number. In this case, it's 300. Okay. So how many units are there together with both those teachers? Well, there's 300. So we have to divide 300 by 5. which gives us 60. So we're going to put 60 in each of the units. Okay? And then we can figure out how much each person folded. Miss J folded 120. Okay? And Miss S folded 180. Okay? Last one. At a country concert, the ratio of the number of boys to the number of girls is 2 to 7. If there are 250 more girls than boys, how many boys are at the concert? Okay, so we're comparing boys to girls. The ratio is 2 to 7. Okay? So boys has 2 units. Girls is going to have 7 units. Okay? It's telling us there are 250 more girls than boys. Okay? More is the key word. It's not telling us the total number of people at this concert. It's just telling us that there was 250 more girls than boys. So looking at the tape diagram, how many more units does the girls have than the boys? The cutoff is here. Okay? So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 units more than the boys. Okay, so those 5 units have to equal 250. So we get 250 divided by 5, which gives us 50. So 50 is going to go in each unit. Now that I have 50 in each unit, I can figure out how much of each were at the concert. So looking at the questions asking us for boys, okay? Boys, 50 times 2 is 100. So there were 100 boys. Okay, girls, there was 250 here plus another 100. So there was 350 in total. Okay, guys, I'm going to send you this problem set. I want you to try to work on it on your own, and then watch the video, continue watching the video, because I'm going over it with you guys together. Okay? So pause the video, try to work on it on your own for some time, and then replay the video and follow along while I go through these problems. Okay, so number 1. Last summer at Camp Okie Fun Okie, the ratio of the number of boy campers to the number of girl campers was 8 to 7. If there was a total of 195 campers, how many boy campers were there? How many girl campers were there? Okay, so what I need to do here is make a tape diagram. We're comparing boys to girls, okay? And our ratio is 8 to 7. So I have 8 to 7. Okay, boys and girls. Okay? It's telling us there was a total of 195 campers. Okay, a total of 195 campers. 195. Okay, we're looking at that. There are 195. So how many total units were there together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 total units. So what I need to figure out is 195 divided by 15. Okay, 15 goes into 19 once. We take away 15 from 19 and we get 4. We bring down the 5. 15 goes into 45 3 times. Okay, 15 times 3 is 45. That's our answer, 13. So now, in each of these units, 13 is going to go in them. Now I can figure out how many boys there were and how many girls there were. Okay? So for boys, 13 times 8, 24. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 2 is 100. Is 10. So there were 104 boys. Okay. 13 times 7, 21. 7, 9. 91 girls. Okay. So those are the answers to number 1. All right, let's go on to number 2. The student to faculty ratio at a small college is 17 to 3. The total number of students is 740. How many faculty members are at the college? How many students? Okay? So, let's look at this. We're comparing student to faculty. Okay, it's 17 to 3. Okay, I'm not going to make a tape diagram for this because I don't want to make a tape diagram that's 17 units long. Okay, so what I'm going to do, since we're talking about the total, I know that I have to add both of these units together. Okay, which equals 20. So now I have to do 740 divided by 20 because that was the total number of students and faculty. Okay, so 740 divided by 20. 20 goes into 74 3 times, which is 60. We subtract that from 74, we get 14. We bring down the 0. Okay, 140 divided by 20 is 7. Okay, so now that's how many is going to go in each unit. So now what I need to do is multiply 37 times 17. Okay, that's the first part of our ratio. That's for students, up here, sorry. And then 37 times 3 for the faculty. Okay, and that's how we'll figure out our answer. So this is 49, 21, 25, add a 0, 7 and 3, add those up. 9, 2, 6. Okay, so there were 629 students. 21, 6, 8, 9, 11. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. And 111 teachers. Okay, and that is our answer. Okay, that one was a little bit difficult. It had bigger numbers. Just take your time, guys. It's not a race. Okay, next one. The Speedy Fast Ski Resort has started to keep track of the number of skiers and snowboarders who bought a season passes. The ratio of the number of skiers who bought season passes to the numbers of snowboarders who bought season passes is 1 to 2. If 1,250 more snowboarders bought season passes than skiers, how many snowboarders have and how many skiers bought season passes? Okay, so let's look at this. The ratio of number of skiers who bought season passes to the number of snowboarders who bought season passes is 1 to 2. So I'm going to do skiers and snowboarders. Okay. 1 unit, 2 units. Okay? So, it's telling us that there were 1,250 more snowboarders. Okay, so this is when I have to do the cutoff. So the cutoff here is just right there. All right? So this 1 unit equals 1,250. So all of these have to equal that amount. So now we just add them up. There were 1,250 skiers, okay? And then snowboarders, there were 2,500 of them because 1,250 times 2 is 2,500. Okay, that one was pretty easy. All right, last one. The ratio of the number of adults to the number of students at prom has to be 1 to 10. Last year, there were 477 more students than adults at the prom. If the school is expecting the same attendance this year, how many adults have to attend the prom? Okay, so we're going to make a tape diagram. Teachers to students. Okay, it's telling us there was 477 more students than adults. Okay, so that's the cutoff. So these 9 units had to equal 477. We do 477 divided by 9, which equals 53. 53 is going to go in each unit. Okay, and all it's asking us is how many adults have to attend the prom. Well, the teachers only had 1 unit, so 53 adults. Okay, awesome, guys. I hope this helped you out, and I hope you are figuring it out. If you need to, play back the video as many times as you need. If I'm going too slow, just rewatch it. All right, have a great day. See you.